Guys, the future of classic and collectible cars has never been more blurry, but we're going to pull out a crystal clear crystal ball. We're going to make it very clear. We're bringing clarity to the market. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts right now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. All right, welcome to you right there watching the show live right now. This is Bid Nerds. We're going to be live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. My name is John Polnick. Right here in the Container Park with me in the middle is Gary Lea from the Las Vegas PCA. Check him out over there. And then we've also got Jason Alter. What's going on? You may recognize him from the Dur or Die podcast. And as always, my partner Michael Deeb on the far side of the screen in San Francisco. What's up, Michael Deeb at the Deeb studio? What's happening?
Oh, what's up, JP? Happy April Fool's Day. You got a full studio and a fresh six-pack of Hippie Sips. I am completely envious. What's going on, man?
Man, Gary brought them. He bought like a whole case of the darn things, man. We were out in the studio. Man, I was trying to bring up a picture of you had a great opening over at the V-Spec warehouse in San Francisco on Sunday for Cars Un Cafe. You had a huge amount of people coming. Hold on just a second. Do we have a speaker on or something like that? Who's got a speaker on?
Somebody's laptop.
Somebody's laptop? Okay. Gary's gets in trouble. He drinks some more Hippie Sips. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we had a great showing at the Deeb studio at the V-Spec warehouse, and I wanted to bring up a picture because I took a bunch of great pictures. I will say, it's my favorite thing to do is to walk around Cars Un Cafe and get snapshots, candid snapshots. You get right up in someone's face, you take a click, and you're out of there before they even notice. And I'm walking around, and for the first time ever, I snapped someone, and they're like, "What'd you take my picture?" And I thought he was joking. I'm like, "Bro, this is what we do for everyone." He's like, "Yeah, but why'd you take my picture?" I'm like, "I gave it to the cops." He's like, "That's not cool, man. People, that's weird. That's weird." I'm like, "No, it's not. We take pictures at events. That's what happens at all events. Relax, get over it." So other than that one guy, we had a great time. And what was your recollection of the event, Deeb?
Just that we got twice as many cars as I was expecting, and I also thought, foolishly, that everybody would congregate inside the warehouse because that's where the coffee and the donuts were, and we had some live music going on. The reality was, what was it, JP? Like, it was 65 degrees when we opened the doors at 7:30 in the morning. It was 80 degrees by the time people were rolling out at 10:30, 11 o'clock. We went and got lunch and sat in the sun at like 85 degrees at 12 noon. And everybody was just outside and all around the building. So lots of people, lots of pockets of people. It wasn't one big cluster inside the house. And I was impressed. I was overjoyed. And I don't want it to get any bigger. Like, that was more than enough people. Like, I don't think we can handle any more than that. So that was great. So don't anybody else come. Thank you.
We had a great Cars Un Cafe in Las Vegas as well. I wasn't there. I was in San Francisco. But Gary, you kind of handled the Cars Un Cafe here in Vegas. How did it go?
It was one of the best attended I've seen in a long time. I didn't get a full count, but we were in the overflow lot.
Wow.
East of the Good Wolf and Street, everything was absolutely jam-packed.
So the moral of this story is that I shouldn't be there, and more people will actually show up. All right, that makes sense. That tracks. All right,
evidently.
guys.
I think they just felt sorry for me.
Maybe that was it. All right, well, thanks for everyone who came out to both the Las Vegas Cars Un Cafe and the San Francisco Cafe. We always do it the last Sunday of the month, so you all are welcome. It's a free event every month. All right, tonight we are talking about how blurry the future seems to be right now. A lot going on in global politics that are affecting all the markets, whether not just car markets, but stock markets, crypto, precious metal, everything seems to be in this kind of weird flux right now. So we're paying extra close attention to our classic and collectible car market, because I kind of feel like the classic and collectible car market is a canary in the coal mine, right? There are lots of indicators on what's going on in the economy in general, but I gotta think the most delicate, the most elastic of all of them would be the classic and collectible cars, because who really needs a classic and collectible car? That's going to be one of the first things you're going to ditch if you suddenly need money. So I think that's one of the first things to pay attention to. Jason's shaking his head over there, but we'll give him a chance to respond to that. Some people think that that's a place to put your money if you think that there's going to be mad inflation, which that may actually be something as well. But what we do on this show, if you are new to the program, what we do is we analyze listings on Bring a Trailer Cars and Bids, sometimes P-Car Market. Based on that analysis, we make predictions, and we always start off every episode by going over the predictions from our last episode. So make sure that you follow along and see if you can bid with the bid nerds, and also we're going to make some new bids. We've got new predictions. So the cars that we have on the list tonight are really, really cool. Crack open a can of Hippie Sips if you want your bids to really nail it. That's what Gary does. That's why he's so good at it and gets so many Yahtzees. All right, guys. Michael Deeb, what was the first car that we made a prediction on the last episode that we actually aired a full episode? Because the last episode we tried Sunday after the show and we had a technical failure, right?
Yeah, so a few of these reconciliations might be a teeny bit redundant. To the astute Nerd Herd member, it'll be interesting to see if JP or I contradict our takes this time versus what we thought of a few of those results on Sunday night. But that's just chopping up the minutia. We're going to open with a car that hadn't closed yet on the last one. JP, let's circle back to the 2009 Porsche Cayenne GTS that was running no reserve on Cars and Bids. What makes this GTS so special is not only the red color, not only the low miles of 34,200 original, but the fact that this GTS has indeed the rare 6-speed manual transmission. JP, this is as collectible an example as we've seen in a long while. It was brought to market by one of the best, our old buddy and fellow third nerd guy, David Mizrachi, who presides over Motor Cars of the Main Line out of King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. The car is presented on a clean New Jersey title. We know that they kind of went through the car and got it prepared for the sale. So I'm sure this car got a very light reconditioning. They took some beautiful studio photography. And JP, this car almost looks as good as new in these studio images. The car is presented on Cars and Bids, and with all the confidence in the world, it's a featured listing running no reserve. JP, we wondered aloud what people would make of this basically E1.2 GTS manual with collectible mileage and a bright color. What would it do on Cars and Bids? Our friends at Classic.com don't separate a column for the manual GTSs and the automatic GTSs. Thus, the classic number of $26,000 for the average price paid for one of these in the secondary market includes both gearboxes. But JP, we knew this car was something special. I jumped up to $86,000. JP, you were surprisingly, what do I want to use, bearish on this one. And your bid came in, $16,000 under mine. Your bid was $69,958. So, Gary, you know a thing or two about the PCA. What do you think this car, excellent spec, excellent condition, excellent presentation, junior varsity website, but this is one of their best sellers. This guy gets it done on Cars and Bids. What do you think this Cayenne GTS with a manual would have brought on Cars and Bids when it closed on Monday?
When I heard you say 26,000 was classics, I thought that's ridiculous for a 3-pedal one. And I think I was talking somewhere around 60,000, I'll say 64,000.
64,000. So that brings you just $6,000 under JP. Jason Alter, you're a performance guy. Help me teach these guys a lesson. What do you think this car would have hammered for when it closed on Cars and Bids the other day?
Yeah, I would not have gone as high as you would, because to me, like, you know, who's the buyer out there for this? I would have pegged this at high 50s, like 58, 59.
Yeah, put a number to it, Jason. Yeah. 58, 50. Yeah. Well, pick one, please.
Let's go with 59.
Yeah. 59. Okay. So all of you guys have to start drinking right now. I was the closest, and I'm off by 11,500. Our car hammered for $97,500.
Wow.
And I get to say, I told you so. Like, listen, we had this guy on, and he told us the car was coming, and we promised we'd cover it. There have been Cayennes that show some degree of collectability, and there is no, like, I don't even know how to explain it. You cannot overestimate how much the PCA guys will pay for a rare spec run-of-the-mill car. I am not shocked by that number at all, JP. At 86, it's funny to think I'm 11 off and I'm still the closest by a long shot. But yeah, it doesn't. I wouldn't have been surprised if this car brought 100. Where do you go find another sub 40,000 mile, like really close to showroom spec Cayenne GTS? And again, somebody's going to put this away and sell it for 150 grand one day. Mark my words. JP, tell everybody in the Nerd Herd why you think I'm an idiot.
Well, I mean, there's so many reasons, but when it comes to this particular auction, the interesting thing that you, and this isn't where I was going to go, but you are mentioning that you think it's a PCA buyer that's buying this Cayenne, and I do not agree with that at all. I think the PCA buyer is the last person that buys this Cayenne. I think the person that buys this Cayenne is someone who's a genuine driving enthusiast. A PCA member is more likely to buy a Tiptronic one or a PDK one of the newer versions. This particular car is a very discerning buyer, and they're great. Look, I've owned GTS Cayenne manuals, and they are a truly fantastic driving car. But it is interesting that you mentioned the blue book value. I know that Deeb gets this question all the time. We get the question all the time. People go to a car dealership, they go to trade in their enthusiast car, and they call us up, or I get a text probably like a few times a week. I'm at car dealership X. I have my, 911, I don't know, my 2014 911 S with a manual, and they want to give me, $38,000 for it. What do I do? I'm like, not try to trade it in. That's for one. The used car managers have no idea that the manual ones are worth that much more. If you took this particular Cayenne in and went to trade it in on a brand new Hyundai Sonata at the car dealership down on dipshit, Car Row in whatever town you live in, right? The used car manager is going to come out there, and the sales puke is going to sit you down. They're going to fill out the little Foursquare. You're going to say that your car is, XYZ with a manual. He's going to take it back to his sales manager, and the sales manager is going to be like, you made a mistake. He says it's manual. It's not. Go back. We'll give you $7,500 for it. Because that's what a stupid 958 Cayenne is worth these days. They're worth nothing. But if they have 3 pedals, they're worth a whole heck of a lot more. I sure hope I get this much money for my 3-pedal Cayenne. We have seen the 958s with more normal miles, 100,000 miles give or take, really drop in value. They were up there in the $50-something thousand range. We saw 3 or 4 of them on Cars and Bids for a while, and it seems like they've dropped back down to like 30 or something like that. So that's why I was kind of bearish on this particular one. But it seems like it's a GTS, it's badass, and it's low miles. We never see them low miles. Jason, what do you think of that result?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at what it went for. Honestly, I did not think that there would be somebody out there who would pay that for that car. As good as it is, I mean, it's way higher than I would have thought I'd gone for.
Have any of you guys ever gone to a dealership and tried to trade in your special enthusiast car and gotten just like completely insulted by the classic, or not the classic, but the used car manager that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, I did it with mine, with my 997.
Your 997, they tried to offer you nothing.
Exactly.
Well, it is a PDK, but what are you going to do? All right, guys, let us know. I had to throw it in there. Let us know what you guys...
pearl clutching.
That's right, pearl clutching. 3 pedals. I just like clutching, not some more than pearl clutching. Let us know what you guys think of the manual transmission GTS with 32,000 miles. Do you agree with my partner that's going to be sold for 150 grand here in a year? Or do you think, like me, that they just got lucky? All right, let us know in the comments. What's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, I got the privilege of representing this 2017 Ford F-150 Raptor Super Crew with just 24,000 original miles. JP, our car is a one-owner car. It was here in San Rafael, California on a clean Arizona title. Again, just 24,000 miles for this, I think, first year of the second generation of the Raptor. This is painted in a one-year-only color called Avalanche Gray. I'm sorry, Avalanche Paint. And that color was offered on the Shelby GT350 or the GT500 or something that same year. The big thing here, JP, is the way that the car was spec'd. This is a no sunroof car. And by all accounts, a lot of these early Gen 2 cars that had the sunroofs that were taken and twisted and run in the sand and off-road and stuff, those rails and that sunroof, there was a lot of flex up on the top of the car, and that was not a good thing. A lot of those sunroofs would break, a lot of those rails would falter, and it would take sometimes several trips to the dealership to get those fixed. So finding one today that was astutely ordered without the sunroof, these cars apparently bring a tiny bit of a premium. This car goes on to be ordered without any graphics and without the rear plastic applique that typically adorn the entire width of the rear tailgate section. So the car is equipped with really cool beadlock wheels. The car also came with 2 extra beadlock wheels with those same tires on it, which wind up being like a $4,000 value after installation and taxes and all that sort of thing. So really nice truck. Kevin shot some great photographs. We got a great presentation here, and away we go. JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that the average selling price of all of the Gen 2 Raptors is a respectable $52,000 in the secondary market. I recused myself from bidding, but JP, you came in heavy at $65,150. Jason Alter, let's start with you. Kind of a rare spec Gen 2 Raptor. The cars have kind of leveled off and sort of holding their value, especially the ones with the lower miles. What do you think this one might have hammered for on Brick and Trailer?
I missed the mileage on that. What's the mileage on that, Deeb?
24,000 on a 2017.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with 67,000.
67, a little over JP. Gary Lea, where you at?
I'm probably going to just climb just a hair over Jason at 68 because 68, of the color, the color and the condition.
Thank you. I wish you guys were bidding. Our car ultimately hammered at $54,000. The reserve was a teeny bit higher, so BAT contributed a little bit to make the seller whole at a higher number. But by all accounts, JP, this was a successful auction. The seller is happy, the marketer is happy, and the buyer is very happy. He wired the money today and is going to fly out next Wednesday and drive the car home to Connecticut, JP. How's that for a cool update? What do you make of that result?
That's usually I love it when people drive their stuff home after an auction, but holy cow, that's going to cost them a lot of money. To visit you in San Francisco when we drove out there on Friday and came back, we never paid less than $6.50 per gallon on that trip, and that's in 911s that do not suck down as much gas as this thing unless you drive it like Rami. Yeah. Look, my partner did a great job getting this thing done. I think you got it done in the nick of time, by the skin of your teeth. The fact that you were able to get this truck sold is darn near a miracle. It's a reason why, if you're considering selling something right now, it really does pay to have an expert like the bid nerds, like Michael Deeb, to represent your car, because look, nobody wants a freaking Raptor right now. Brand new Raptors right now, there are 112 days worth of Raptors on the market, meaning at the current sales rate, it's going to take 112 days to sell all the Raptors that are sitting on showroom floors. That's not counting the ones that are coming, and that's as of March. I'm sorry, that's of February. Gary, could you flip that switch for me that we talked about before? Make sure your headphones are on, so you're going to go flying there. So yeah, the Raptor, the trucks, they're just these. I mean, gas is really expensive. Trucks are not going to be selling any better anytime soon. Deeb, you wanted to hop in there. You put your hand up. What was up?
Oh, no. I was just agreeing with you that they should call the bid nerds. It really is the only way to get it done correctly these days. These it's competitive out there in the marketplace, and the audiences will not let you come to market any other way except correctly. And so you have to have, expert assistants to do that. JP is a professional storyteller with his audio and video stuff. He's a magician with that stuff. That's why I've been working with him for the last almost 10 years now. And you need people like us to do it to get the job done right. Thank you, JP. This one went really well. The guy's super happy.
Bidnerds.biz if you want us to represent your car. Find us over there. All right, Deeb, what's the next car on the list?
JP, we're going to circle back to the 2012 Audi R8 V10 Coupe that was showing 25,000 miles. This car had a gated 6-speed manual as well as the 525 horsepower V10. The car is basically unmodified. It was a featured listing running on Cars and Bids. Here's where it gets interesting, JP. While we were covering the car, you unearthed the fact that the seller of this car, a dealer, was getting kind of lippy and short with the folks in the audience that were asking questions. I mean, this really goes back to what we were just saying 30 seconds ago. You have to have a professional do it. The guy who was answering on behalf of this dealership is not a professional salesperson. If he was, he wouldn't talk to people that way. You can have a dealer license. He can have a dealership. He can have a business card, but it doesn't make him a salesperson, a true salesperson. He can sell for a living and still not be a salesperson. And so while we were looking at this car, thinking that this is a car that should be in that $150,000 neighborhood, I really thought this car was going to suffer, and so did JP. And I changed my bid to recognize his tone in the comments. So I went from like $140-something thousand down to $118,500 and thought that it wouldn't sell. JP came in underneath me at $115,008 and agreed that the car wouldn't sell, nor should anybody buy from this guy based on his attitude. Classics.com's number, again, was 110 grand, but I don't think that number divvied up the E-Gear single clutch cars versus the gated manuals, which bring a big premium. So Gary, let's start with you. This is a late version of the first gen R8 with the big V10 motor, all-wheel drive, and the super desirable, and at this point, like by 2012, increasingly rare gated 6-speed manual transmission. Car's got low mileage, but the guy who was barking on behalf of it was being a jerk. What do you think this car would have hammered for on Cars and Bids?
Well, Cars and Bids usually is a little lower, but that's a real hard one with the spokesperson. I think that car is 150 plus, maybe 165,000 with that gated 6-speed. I would have gone 160 to see that thing sell.
160.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jason Alter, your thoughts on the gated manual, Audi version of the Gallardo?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, gated manual and V10. Now, I didn't see the comments or what that was like, but I would have probably pegged this car at 140,000.
140,000. You're good. So I think I was like around that spec too. But I really thought that the comments, because of the way it was going back and forth, it was going to cost him. And it didn't. Jason, you were the closest. Our car ultimately hammered for $141,000 where it sold on 44 bids.
Whoa, time out.
Now, JP.
It didn't sell for that. It sold after for that. That is, okay. Go back and look at what the actual top bid was for this car.
Yeah,
we're going through it. Yeah, it sold after. They did get it done later.
That's not what I'm seeing.
Let's see here. I got to pull up the other thing here. Let's break this down. Yeah, let's see here. So yeah, this sold for 149 6 days ago, but the high bid was not
GP,
that.
are you on the right car? Are you on the right car?
I think I am.
I'm seeing a sell at hammer at 141. I'm not seeing anything from any other day. The high bid was 141, and that's when it sold.
I could have swore I looked at this thing and saw a different result on that. While I look that up,
a different car.
Yeah, Gary, what do you think of I just don't think it is. Gary, what do you think of that number?
I think that's probably a pretty good price for the car. It looks like it's in excellent shape, low miles. You know, those were really good, and that V10 is just a screamer. And then to have a 3-pedal car on top of it, I think that was well bought.
Jason, how about you?
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, Nexus Auto, whether or not this thing sold after or sold at bid, which maybe it did, I still think that they left at least $20,000 on the table. People were freaking pissed off at this guy in the comments. I mean, and there were a lot of comments of talking about how bad this guy was. There was one in particular. Where did it go? Because the seller was complaining that the bidders were poor and that they didn't have enough money, and that they were like, or he was complaining that they were like, he was insinuating that the people who were complaining about him were new accounts and weren't really valid, like they were shill complaints. And then there were bids by bidders at like $10,000 and $20,000 increments that were brand new accounts that had never commented on anything or never bid on anything. So it's like this seller is being a dick to all the potential buyers. He's got his own shill bidders going in there bidding up the auction, and he's bitching saying that other people aren't being legit. These guys, what was their name? Nexus Auto Brokers. Just stay away from Nexus Auto Brokers, unless you want to make some money, I guess, because somebody got this car for $140 and they could probably turn around and put it on BAT and sell it for $160. Yeah,
right. And we don't know if any
part.
of that is true. But yeah, the guy was being a jerk in the comments, but we don't know if those were shill bids or not. Anything could look sus, but we don't know anything for sure. But yeah, that was an iffy one. I'm surprised he got it done. And as what we started to say on Sunday, JP, is he got away with being a jerk and sold the car. And it seems undeservingly so, the way he was treating the audience. But hey, there's an ass for every seat. And again, at $141,000, I agree with Gary. I think this car is really well bought. I wish I owned it for $141,000. And there you go.
It'd be interesting to be able to get a hold of AJRN25, the person who bought the car for $141, and see if they actually get it and find out how the after sale went. Dealing with Nexus Auto dickheads. I mean brokers. All right, we say that they're dickheads allegedly. All right, let's move on. What's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, here we go. So we took a look at this 1990 Porsche 911 Carrera 2 Coupe, and it was deja vu. JP, this is a car that we covered before. This car has been affectionately nicknamed the murder car because it was used to help identify some people who had committed such a heinous crime. So the car winds up having its own public media persona of its own, and that's ironic because on its own merit as a 1990 Porsche 911 C2 Coupe with a manual transmission, this is a very valuable collector car. One of the hottest cars in the secondary market, one of the hottest cars in the air-cooled market, full stop. This car comes to Cars and Bids. It has been spruced up. It's on a clean Washington title out of Seattle, Washington, now showing about 118,000 miles on the odometer. There's been some tasteful upgrades. It looks like it's got a Mod 7 and some red seat belts and some cool wheels and some brake ducts. And it just looks like the car has been refurbished and kept up really, really nicely. It's still that car, though, and everybody kind of knows that car. So the question is, who wants to own a car that has been part of that whole sort of thing? Again, the car didn't commit the murder, and a murder wasn't committed in the car, but the car was used to help identify a couple of murderers, which is
the car wasn't used to commit a murder. The car was used like during a carjacking that they murdered someone.
So
they went from this car.
Didn't they keep that car? They had it for months, right? And didn't they do an oil change on it and everything? They actually took care of the car.
They had it for a while. Yeah, the car. And then they used it in another crime. They were breaking into a warehouse trying to steal like a three-wheeler or something like that. And that's how the car wound up on a security tape. And that's what they used to put it out there in the Porsche market. And the Porsche people all knew what the car was. And so that's how they were able to kind of track it down. But yeah, the guys the guys did commit a murder kind of in this car. So
So JP, there's an update on this from when we tried to cover it on Sunday. So Our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of a C2 coupe, a 1990 C2 coupe with a manual, is $106,000. JP, I thought this car would get to $90,911 and fail to sell. JP, you bid $100,964. Jason Alter, you own a car very similar to this. The only thing it's been accused of is being too macho because it's yours. As
far as I know, there has been no murders committed in my car. So
when Jason pulls up, when Jason pulls up in his 964, it just murders the mood in the room. But Jason, what do you think?
Or his ego when he crashes it, which never happens. I wasn't there. It didn't happen. A wolf jumped out in front of the car.
Ixnay on
you shouldn't let Deeb, Jason, you should never let Deeb drive your car. So anyway, what do you think this car would have hammered for, given the scarlet letter?
Yeah, so that makes it a little tricky, right? Because we know that it was involved in this crime. I think there was some. I'm trying to remember if there was some minor damage to the car or not, but nonetheless, it was stolen, right? It was a theft recovery, and I'm looking at it. It's a 90. It's got some mods, in my opinion, that maybe are questionable. Guards red. I'm pegging this car at like 89,000.
89,000. So you're under me by a grand. Gary Lea, what do you think?
I'm going to say 87.5.
Oh, wow. Even lower. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So here's where it got interesting. Our car hammered for $93,000. JP and I tried to review it on Sunday, but the show went sideways. Glitch. Since then, JP, and I don't know if you saw the update, our car has gotten has sold for $106,000.
Is this why I was confused about the R8? Did I confuse the R8 with this one?
Right, but you made up the numbers on the R8, which is why it was so funny. But we'll give you that one, JP, because you're getting old, and they say the mind is the second thing to go. But this car has since sold for $106,500. Well, that Audi R8, you said it was $149. I'm like, that's not the numbers at all.
Was there a rebuild on the engine, or is the original engine anything? Any records of that?
I didn't read the receipts. We never do any. You're asking way too many questions, JP. Jason, at $106,500 for the murder car, good deal or terrible deal? Well sold or well bought?
I'm on the fence. I think the seller did well. But at 106 for a 90 C2 market value, I think it was reasonable. But again, this car makes it confusing because of the backstory.
What are you laughing about?
Right.
Deeb is like cracking up over here. I'm not quite sure.
Because Jason has given us both sides of the argument. I'm like, Jason, stand on a hot take.
It's the theft recovery and the murder that's got me all discombobulated. Give me a break.
Some people would buy it because
so
of
much
that.
diplomacy spewing from your mouth, Jason. That's why I'm laughing. Jason's usually the RRR take. You know what I mean?
And I'm a little biased.
This guy's an idiot. $106,000 for a murder car? What a moron.
I'm a little biased with the 964s too. So want to keep those values going up.
Sensitive.
Yeah.
Gary,
Absolutely.
what do you think of that result?
Gary, thank you.
It was a conundrum because some people would buy it just for that provenance of it being involved in a high-profile crime. But
yeah, some people are scumbags. That's true.
And that's why I kind of went on the other side. I don't think I would, as much as I love the look of the car, I don't think I'd want to have that juju.
Well, with this car selling, what was the final number, Deeb? So, because I don't want to make it up. I don't want to be accused of making anything up here on my own damn show.
106,500.
So this car went for 106,500. After the fact. Again, this is a situation where cars and bids just kind of mess this one up. This car, if it were on BAT and didn't have all this nonsense attached to it, I think this car would have sold for significantly more. The fact that it FTS'd at whatever 90 something means that they had to negotiate from a point of weakness. That means the car was not in a strong place for them to try to finally make that close. I think the seller would have been better off to just not make a deal with a buyer on Cars and Bids after the close and just bring it back to market a month later on a better platform and just get all the money. I think this car is definitely a $130,000 car on BAT properly listed. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Would you buy a murder car? Is that something that you would like? Would you like go, yeah? Would you tell people that? Or would you kind of like keep that under wraps? Let us know in the comments. And what's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb? Did we lose? We lost Michael Deeb. Michael Deeb went
MIA.
Okay. Oh, wait. It's because we don't have another car on the list. I guess maybe he went to pee. So we're going to be right back with new predictions right after this. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. Here we're back. All right, guys. We are back. It is time to crack open a can of Hippie Sips. Apparently, my partner Michael Deeb had too much Hippie Sips because he's in the can right now, having to make some more room for Hippie Sips. Look at Gary. Heck yeah, doing it right. The Hippie Sips guys are changing the way people drink socially. This is organically infused goodness with THC as well. It's not legal in all states, so you're going to have to go to hippiesips.com and check the website to see if it's legal in your area. And if it is, you should get yourself a case of Hippie Sips. If it's not, just go to the website anyway and kind of hang out and check out the site and let them know that the Bid Nerds sent you. They are great people over there. They're going to be joining us up in Idaho at Idaho Air coming up on, what is that, May 2nd, Michael Deeb? Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be
the weekend of May 2nd. It's at least the weekend of May 2nd. I can't remember if it's I actually think it's Sunday, May 3rd, which is interesting because last year it was on Saturday, and I believe this year it's on Sunday. But you can safely say you want to be in Boise, Idaho, the weekend of May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, because there's going to be so much stuff going on.
It's kind of the new Luft, right? It's kind of Luft cult. It's kind of like lost its luster because they've diluted it so much. We've all and in the air and water, it's like whatever, we'll go. But it's the new hang. So come up to Idaho and hang out with us. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Super chats are working. So if you want to support the show, if you want to support Bid Nerds, you can use the super chat button. The best super chatter I know is sitting right here in the studio. So we're not getting any super chats from Gary Lea, but look, if you super chat enough, you can hang out in studio at the Bid Nerds. We would have had Gary here anyway, even if he super chatted or not. All right, let's get after it, Deeb. We've got some predictions on some really cool cars. Let's do it. What do we got? What's the first car on the list?
Okay, JP, we are going to open the show with a car that I have the privilege of listing. Feast your eyes on one of these incredible, rare Japanese Skylines. This is a 1995 Nissan Skyline GTR. This is the R33 generation, which are kind of on the come up, like 348 Ferraris and 996 Porsches. This is also, JP, it gets better from here. It's also V-Spec and N1. And don't ask me what any of that means because it's just so difficult to try and pinpoint each and every last little detail. But we're the Bid Nerds, so we'll try. JP, a client of mine is a tech person, and he has traveled to Japan over the last 2.5, 3 decades, and has fallen in love with all the cool Japanese cars that they only sell there that you can't get here. He's involved in a small dealership down here in the Bay Area, and has been bringing really cool JDM cars into California through various things. I think like this car is on a Washington title. And so this is just one of the latest, greatest cars he bought sometime last year. So the car has 37,000 original kilometers on it. That is just like 24,000 miles. It's like just under 24,000 miles. This is a 2.6 liter twin turbocharged inline six. JP, I don't know if I got a chance. I really wanted you to drive this car while you were here, but we were so busy with so many things that weekend. I don't really think we got a chance to throw you the keys. But JP, this twin turbo inline six Redline begins at 8,000 RPM. Were you aware of that on the Skyline?
Well, I did get to park it, but I didn't get to find the red line while I was parking it. I'm sure your
in reverse.
seller would be happy to know that I did not explore that range.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, JP, as an N1 example, this is one of 87 produced. They come in 3 series, Series 1, Series 2, and Series 3. 55 Series 1s, which were all built in 1995. This is one of 55. Then they built a few in 96, and I think then the Series 2s are in 97. Or Series 3s are in 97. JP, what makes the N1 the N1? Well, essentially, they're all white, and these were basically body in white cars that were stripped of a lot of the fanfare because these cars were essentially homologated to race. And as these cars were produced, when Nissan flipped you the keys, they left them in white because they knew you're going to, basically tack a livery on this car and go racing with it. To that end, JP, these cars come with an adjustable carbon fiber rear wing element. They don't come with a radio or an antenna. There's a little black block-off plate where the antenna is supposed to go. Underneath the front radiator, underneath the front grille and lip spoiler, is a carbon fiber under tray to save weight and be more aero efficient. In front of the radiator is an ancillary oil cooler to help keep the oil extra cool for these cars, as they're meant to operate at high temperatures while they're on the racetrack. This car does have air conditioning. And somebody did retrofit a Pioneer Carrozzeria head unit into the stereo, but it's programmed in Japanese. When you turn it on, you get a little girl in Japanese that says, which is really cute. And then what else can I tell you about these cars, JP? No rear wiper. Most of the R33s came with a rear wiper that came up through the rear hatch shelf. The motor is underneath the rear hatch shelf in the trunk. And so the arm comes up through the glass. This is interesting because the N1s basically didn't come with that feature. Those R33s that are notorious for rusting is because water can wick down that shaft, go through the rear hatch shelf, drip off the motor and into the floor of the truck, where there's no place for the water to go. And so a lot of R33s, if you look under the car, sort of up and behind the head of the rear axles, in the floor of the trunk in that area is where a lot of these R33s are rusty. This car is a dry car. It is not rusted. We have an astute collector who knew how to avoid those pitfalls and bought a dry car. And of course, because it was a no wiper car, that wasn't a problem. JP, these cars drive amazing. It's got Öhlins Mines collaboration on some coilovers. These cars have super Hicus rear axle steering. They're all-wheel drive. They have an active limited slip rear differential. And with that super Hicus, you throw it into a turn, and the rear wheels, like a GT3, just sort of bend outward of the turn, and the rear just kind of whips around. It doesn't feel like it's going to break loose, but it just feels like you're swinging the car around. And I just have to say, I totally get why these cars have a cult following. They drive beautifully. The only thing is, JP, right-hand drive, and the car is on a domestic title, and it's in the United States, which I know most of the time holds us back from thinking that people will pay a proper retail number for the car. But these cars are highly collectible, and they're moving up in value. JP, I hand it over to you. Kev, the photographer, took some incredible photos of this car. We got a great driving video from the kid Noah that is working with me. He's got those little Google glasses that take the video. So we have one little driving video of the Marin Headlands by the Golden Gate Bridge with Noah behind the wheel. And then we've got another driving video from Grayson where he's really, moving the car around down by Alice's restaurant, which is a fun place we've gotten to drive. These cars really can hang with, a lot of the kind of, premier sports cars of the day, the 348 Ferraris, your Acura NSX, your Porsche 964 or your 993. This car can run with the best of them, and this is the best of the breed. So what are your thoughts on the Skyline R33 N1?
You took the Skyline on the Skyline out to Alice's. That sounds like the perfect thing to do. Shout out to Jezza. my Mel Gibson lookalike brother, for the super chat. He's throwing out a super chat at us. Thank you, sir. Chris Carbine did a double down tonight. Thank you, Chris. Always great to have you in the super chat and in the nerd herd. He is an OG guy right there. John Curtis hitting us up with a super chat as well. Thank you so much, John Curtis. And of course, M6 dude, we love you, brother. Thanks for being in the nerd herd. If you are watching the show live and you haven't introduced yourself in the nerd herd, that's the live chat. That is the thing to do. This makes the show so much better. It's kind of like, I don't know, drinking Hippie Sips while you're watching a laser show or something like that. It'll just make everything better. So join the nerd herd, hang out. All right, this car is, the right-hand drive stuff is always kind of difficult to deal with, but these never came in left-hand drive, so that's not going to really hurt the value at all like it does some other cars that are available in both. Like we always see the NSXs really fail big time when they're right-hand drive compared to their left-hand drive versions. But this car, yes, I have seen it. I did move it. I parked it. It is in excellent condition. It is everything that my partner says. And also the reason why you should hire the nerds to sell your car when you're thinking about doing it. Because look, people, when we were there last weekend, people were asking questions about that N1 versus N2. I don't even know the difference, right? If you're the Nexus Auto Brokers, you're going to be like, screw you, bro. You don't even have any money. You're not buying this car. You only had to, most sellers just, the minutia and the stupid questions can get really annoying. And as a seller, it's very easy to get emotional. When you have someone like my partner, Michael Deeb, he stays calm. He's like, okay, someone asks a question. I don't know what the answer to that is, but we're going to find out the answer, and we're going to give you the correct answer, which they did in very short order. You guys handled that really well, Deeb. So congrats to my partner on that. Gary, what do you think of the Skyline?
I knew you were going to come to me first. I haven't a clue about this thing.
Well, drink some more Hippie Sips, and it'll give you all kinds of visions of right-hand driveness.
Clarity.
Jason, do you know anything about these things?
I don't, other than, a limited number, and it's right in that sweet spot for the guys that grew up wanting the car, having all the money in the world now. But beyond that, I really don't know a lot about these.
Yeah, they kind of missed us Gen Xers and boomers. This is really a millennial young timer car. I could definitely see the appeal, but having never actually driven one and not really being a fan of right-hand drive cars, it's not necessarily for me. But if this is your jam, this is the one to get. Deeb, what's it going to bring?
All right, JP. Just one little bit more facts on this. JP, there was this gentleman's agreement by all the Japanese manufacturers that the cars that were produced for their market would all be quote unquote limited to 280 horsepower or 274 horsepower, whatever that number was. It is well believed that these cars put out 310 horsepower to the tires, which means they're basically producing around 370 to 380 horsepower at the crank before they lose all that power to the all-wheel drive system. Just to give you, some context of what the performance is like. And then this one, these weigh anywhere between 30 and 60 kilograms less than the standard R33, which is anywhere between 60 and 130 pounds. So there's a significant weight savings to these as well. They're super agile, and the cars just work. They feel, it almost feels like the chassis is seam welded. They're very rigid. And yet they ride comfortably. The seats are beautiful. The shifter, all that stuff works. JP, there is no data for N1s with Classic.com. So what I can offer for context for us is that a basic R33 on average is $78,000. And we know that to be true. You can get a decent R33 in the United States in a color other than white, by the way, for anywhere between the high 60s and the low 80s. And that's a fair price to pay. The only version of the Skyline R33 that comes in above the N1 is the 400R. Those cars make 400 horsepower. I don't know that they put 400 to the ground, but they're credited for making 400 horsepower. That's probably closer to the crank. And so they're only a little bit faster than these and only slightly more exotic. And they made 44 of those. There are 55 of this series 1N1. Those cars, JP, sell for $900 to $1.1 million. Wow. So anybody's guess at what the first public transaction for a clean, unmolested, dry N1 on a domestic title in the United States is going to bring. JP, when this car sells tomorrow, boom, that will be our first dart throw, and that will give us our first watermark for a pure, unscrewed up N1. Now, there are a handful of N1s in the United States, and they have traded privately, but we have no public data that we can find. There are some modified cars. There's some asking prices, but we're talking about, we know what the car sold for publicly. This car is going to be the one that sets the market. So, JP, I'm going to ask you, do us a favor. Throw us a guess on what this car might bring.
Well,
we're at 100 grand. We're at 100 grand today, and it closes tomorrow.
We're at 100 grand already. Yeah, I could see. Hey, Gary, could you hit that button for me real quick? Look, this is the kind of car that I would have been way more conservative. The fact that it's at 100 grand already really kind of reminds me how special these cars are. And the fact that, people are looking for ways to protect their money. If you've got a low amount of cash, if you've got a bunch of liquid cash, Gary, hit that little button in the middle. This is a great way to put your money in something that's physical, and even if inflation skyrockets, which I firmly believe it's going to, this car may not keep up with inflation, but at least you can drive it while that's going on, and you've got a hard asset. I'm going to say 117 and hand it off to Gary. What's your guess?
JP, you meant 170 or 117?
117. It's at 100, right?
Yeah,
I think it'll be more than that.
Yeah, that's
do better than that, JP.
Oh,
It's
you
gonna
mean
get more than
175?
17.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm thinking 100 grand off. I've got like a whole $100,000 off of where I was thinking, because for some reason I thought oh man, I got to drink more Hippie Sips. Yeah, if my number was going to be because initially I was thinking 175, but then I got my brain that I was thinking just 75. So I was like, wait, where are we at? So yeah, what's $17,000 higher than 175?
192.
192. I'll go 192.
Thank you.
$192,026 and hand it off to you, Gary. Sorry.
I think it'll go for 201.
201. I like it.
Yeah.
How about you, Jason? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with 187.
187.
Thank you, guys. Man, very good bids. Very good bids.
Is there a chance that this thing, Deeb, is there a real chance that this could break 200?
It could. It absolutely could. Again, there's just no data to prevent it or to endorse it. You know what I mean? Like I said, go find me another one. There's not another one for sale. I don't even think there's one for sale in Europe or Japan right now that's like this. And if there is, you have to pay a retail number for it and bring it in. So and this car has been completely gone through. It came, it's on a Washington title, but it came to the Bay Area, went through Workshop 337. They did a whole bunch of little things. Everything on the car works. Somebody asked me about the AC the other day, and the day before, JP, we had bought a handheld thermometer so that we could start using it for our listings. So we wound up using it on this car first. And then we showed the AC just at idle inside the shop. This is without air coming through the system like you're supposed to do it. Inside the warehouse, we did the little thermometer, and the guy's comment was, he goes, did that Skyline just go to 34 degrees? That AC just go to 34 degrees idling in the shop? Like, it's really crazy. So everything on the car works. It's fantastic. It absolutely, Gary's number might hold water. So let's see what happens. Everybody will be happy if it does, Gary.
Gotta love Japanese reliability. All right, let's move on. What's the next car on the list? Good luck to my partner, Michael Deeb.
Thank you, JP.
We gotta move it along on these other ones too. We gotta move it on.
Okay, so P-Car Market's got a really cool car right now, JP. It's a 1992 Porsche 964 America Roadster with a 5-speed manual, showing just 29,000 miles. And it's here, oh my God, it's in the New York. So there you go. It's in New York. It is with a dealer, but there's no dealer fee. Super low miles, beautiful dark blue color with the gray, dark gray interior. JP, these cars are pretty collectible. The last few America Roadsters we've seen come to market have not done well, and I don't know why, because they only brought about 250 of these into the United States over a short period of time. It's funny, they say 250. I actually thought it was less than that. I thought it was like 125 America Roadsters. These cars are particularly rare, even rare, more so in midnight blue metallic with less than 30,000 miles. JP, our car closes tomorrow. It's currently sitting at $69,250 on 9 bids. Classic thinks these cars are worth 119 grand. I think this car is a decent presentation, even though it's on the East Coast. I think it gets to $139,000 and sells. And if it sells for under 140, I think it's well bought. So I think P car market is going to get this one done. Nice presentation, really nice car, really nice spec, really nice condition. The road is clear. Come on, P car market, don't screw this one up. So we're at 69 grand, JP. We close tomorrow. My bid is $139,000, and it's a win for P car market. Where are you at on the Roadster, and what's your bid?
Yeah, I mean, is this the only wide body 964 that's 2-wheel drive? Is there another car?
Yep.
So, you know, with the
the turbo is rear wheel drive.
Isn't the turbos aren't all wheel drive? I guess that's just in the 993.
No, that's a 993.
Okay, yeah. So it's the only naturally aspirated 2-wheel drive wide body.
Right.
There you go.
Yes.
I knew it was one of those, right? I haven't had that much Hippie Sips tonight. This is a beautiful car. I've always loved them. Obviously, wide body 964s are where it's at. It's shocking to me that these don't bring way more money. I mean, if this were a hardtop, this is a 2.5, maybe even more, especially in this kind of crazy colorway. People, PCA folks really like the blues and that sort of thing. I was going to say, this car failed to sell on this platform back in July. And it only got up to $95,000 and then was listed in their chum bucket for $100 grand. I don't know if it doesn't look like it actually sold there. Looks like the dealer wound up selling it to this dealer, and here they are trying to sell it 200 something days later. Yeah, it's a beautiful car. We're not ready for numbers. Or are we going to go right to numbers here, Deeb?
I did. No, go to numbers because we're in a hurry.
What was your number?
So it's at 60. It's at 69. I think this car goes crazy. I think it's going to go to $139,000.
Yeah, it's P-car market. They just keep failing. I don't even think it's going to break 100. It only got 95 last time. I'll go 96,964 and hand it to Gary. What do you think?
I'll go 98,964.
You don't think it's going to break 100 either, huh? All right, Cabrio-phobe. What do you think? I know he owns a Cabrio. Jason Adine, he's the real Cabrio-phobe. What do you think this thing's going to bring?
I'm going to be generous. I'm going to go with 105,000.
105?
I think it's going to struggle to get there.
Do you think it sells at that number?
Does it sell at 105? Yeah.
It's only an hour show there, Jason. Does it sell at 105?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Let's move on. What do you guys think the 964 will bring? We will find out soon enough. What's the next car on the list, Deeb?
All right, JP. Right now we have a 2010 Lotus Exige S240, which is 1,700 miles, running no reserve by 911R out of Portland, Oregon. This car has been modified with some cosmetics. It's got a different front air dam. These cars are fantastic track records. Jason, what do we need to know about these cars? Why are they so cool? Oh, this one has a replacement motor. It's got a Monkey Wrench Racing short block, but they did not publish performance figures for the motor. So even though the car only has 1,700 miles on it, it's been treated to a race engine swap. Jason, what's the love about this car right here?
Yeah, so the S240 is a great car, right? So I happen to have the 255 Cup, right? So it's a street legal version of mine. So, 240 horsepower, sub 2,000 pounds, wet, great car, Monkey Wrench Racing. I know them well because I'm going on my second motor from them. So, pretty strong motor. It's a short block, so it'll have, forged rods, forged pistons. Just a fantastic car. Probably the most visceral, raw driving experience you can get. And it will hang with the big boys and embarrass some of the big high-dollar cars on the track.
Yeah, you're always out there on the track with you usually go out on the PCA weekends. Do you also drive with the Porsche Drivers Club or whatever? What's the other?
Porsche POC.
POC, Porsche Owners Club. Yeah. They're always bringing out the big, I know you hang with like our friend Chef with his GT3 RS. I mean, how competitive can you be with these cars like a GT3 RS that literally has twice the horsepower?
It depends on the track. You can be fairly competitive, but if it's a track with a lot of straightaways and things like that, the high horsepower cars are always going to pull it. Believe it or not, as small and aerodynamic as this car appears, they are not aerodynamic. They hit like an aerodynamic threshold at about 120 and kind of struggle to get through that. So if it's a tight, twisty track, you'll eat them up all day long.
Wow. All right. Good intel. Deeb, what's it going to bring?
Our car is running no reserve, JP. Our friends at Classic.com remind us that the Lotus Exige, a Series 2, is a $61,000 car. That's not necessarily an S240 number. That's just an Exige number. JP, our car is already sitting at $55,555. I think this car is going to sell for $80,000. It wouldn't surprise me if it brought more, because where do you go to find another one like this? It's basically brand new and has been treated to incredible upgrades. So $80,000 would be a steal, but that's my bid in this market. $80,000 at Hammer when it closes tomorrow. We're at $55,555. JP, what's your bid?
Yeah, I mean, this one on another motor, and having been used on the track significantly, I don't think it's going to be on the top of the spectrum for these. So I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I'll go. What was your number, Deeb? One more time.
$80,000.
Oh, okay. I'll go $85,240. Hand it off to Gary. What do you think?
Well, you took my number, so I'm just going to jump you to 86,000 flat.
There you go. And Jason, the expert on these, what do you think?
Yeah, with the damage that it sustained and then the second motor at such low mileage, I think the buyer out there who's looking for a clean Exige S2 is maybe going to be a little bit hesitant. I'm going to actually short this one. I'm going to go 79,000 on it.
Nice. Good bid. All right, guys, what do you think of the Exige? A little Lotus? Let us know in the comments. And we still have more cars. What do we got?
All right, JP, right now there's a 2008 Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano that's been treated to a 6-speed conversion, a manual 6-speed conversion, and the car still only has 8,000 miles from new. JP, the 6-speed manual conversion was done down there in Jarrell, Texas by Machina Motorworks, and I think we had that guy as third nerd on one of our shows a couple of months ago, and he was great. So if it's the same guy, and if I'm remembering him correctly, this car has good provenance because the 6-speed conversion was handled by one of the guys who does it best in this in this country. And the car is fantastic. It's gorgeous in Grigio Ferro paint with the Terra Bucata leather interior. And just, it's Atlas gray, JP, with cognac interior. Car looks gorgeous. Spec. It's got under 10,000 miles. Yeah, and it's got, it's like a 600 horsepower, almost 700 horsepower V12 that revs to over 8,000 RPM, and now you got 3 pedals because the factory only made like 6 of these cars with a manual. So the irony, JP, is that Classic.com now has a column for the 599 GTB with a 6-speed conversion. That number, JP, is $201,000. Our car is currently sitting at $142,000, and it closes tomorrow. JP, this car is collectible. It's super fun to drive, and it's going to wind up still being super, super affordable, and all the heavy lifting's already been done. I think this car hits Classic's manual conversion number. My bid is going to be their number. I'm going $201,000 under hammer tomorrow, and if it goes for that number, it's well bought. JP, what's your bid?
I will conservatively go over you at 200. What was it? 201,599. Hand it up to Gary. What do you think?
You punk.
I think this is a rolling cargasm here. I love these cars.
Yes.
And with right now they're about 159 on average, it seems, with the PD or the flappy
pedal
paddles
thing. Yeah.
But I'd go 205.
205. Jason, you get the last bid.
Yeah, Gary hit my number. I'm going to go slightly above him. I'm going to go 206.
206, good number. I think honestly, I think Jason's going to win this one. I think this thing could really skyrocket. Wick's Garage, he's watching. He's a big fan of Jason Adine over here. He says that these things, a CEO midlife crisis car. You're wrong, Dwayne. Sorry, the old man spec is what all the millennials dig. That is what's hipster right now. Us Gen Xers are no longer the keepers of the cool. You got to go to the millennials, and they like these little champagne room colors. Deeb, you want to cover the Mazda, and just do a rapid, just like how much is Chris Carbine's car going to go for here?
Okay, Chris Carbine's got a 2010 Mazda MX-5 Miata Grand Touring with a 6-speed manual and a power retractable hardtop. His car's got a few miles on it, JP. It's got 88,500 miles. It's on a clean California title, and it says the car is located in Napa, California, but the photos look like they were taken in his back alleyway in New Orleans, but the car is still here in Napa, California. Chris Carbine, thanks for throwing this one my way. I mean, Jesus, I could have walked up there and taken the photos myself. Carbine's car closes tomorrow. It's already got 20 bids. It's sitting at $10,400. JP, I didn't put a number on it, but I feel like this car is going to go to $14,500 when it hammers tomorrow. What say you?
Yeah, I'll go 15,000. I mean, it's springtime, and this is Miata people like this color. What do you think, Jason?
I'm going to go 12.5 in this car.
Yeah, how about you, Gary?
I'm going to go 13,750.
13,750. All right, guys, there it is. We have a show in the can. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We love the super chats. Thanks for those of you who gave us super chats. We will be back Sunday night, and thank you, Gary and Jason, for joining us in the studio
Thanks,
tonight.
you guys.
Great having you here.
You guys.
All right, see you Sunday. Bye, everybody.